So you brought up the possibility of an Ohio State snowball of 2 scores with a 3 and out in between from Michigan. I'll flip it around to say, with the Michigan psyche, I don't want to say it's fragile because I don't know. I'm the last person on earth that makes those kind of statements, like I'm guessing what a team's psyche is. But we know what the recent history's been, so there could be a shred of doubt there that could be amplified by a rough start. On the flip side, in the big house, with a crowd that has to be hopeful, a crowd that has to be, okay, we've got a better team than what we expected coming into this game a few months ago. And if something positive happens, or a few things positive happen early, where it could go from, it's always going to be a certain level of vibe for the Ohio State game, of course, in that stadium, but it could just become crazy, raucous, and kind of get on Ohio State early.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, if you look at, first of all, if you look at Ohio State's schedule this year, really the only environment they probably struggled with was at Nebraska, I would say.
Yeah.
Every other big game they've had at home. And so there's that for Ohio State may not be quite ready for it or not used to it. They'll probably be ready for it, but maybe just not used to it as in they're playing like in that environment week after week. The other part is exactly what you said. The hopefulness, and also this is the first time since 2003 that this game, when it's been played for all the marbles, has been played in Ann Arbor. Especially every time under Harbaugh, it's always been played in Columbus, I believe, when everything's on the line. So that's where I'm curious and excited for the Michigan side for the Michigan fans to experience that. Most of the time when Ohio State has come to Ann Arbor lately, it's been over for Michigan. Sell their tickets. It ends up as a half sea of red. Go on and on and on. Now, is it going to be different? They'll have the maize pom poms. They're trying to do a maize out, even though everyone's going to wear parkas anyway, so it's going to be tough. But I think it is going to be a different environment. And, that's what I think. A couple things. To your point, if Michigan's able to get some things going early, some big plays, a sack, all of a sudden then maybe Ohio State's back on their heels. The other part of that is even when Ohio State, or if Ohio State does go up 14-0, the crowd will help them get back into it. In the situations that, in 2016 and 2018, when Ohio State did go up in those games, all of a sudden you're like, holy crap, I'm in the sea of red and we're, getting our ass kicked and blah, blah, blah. It's hard to come back from that. If you have the crowd on your side, it's a lot easier for them to stay in it throughout 4 quarters. So I definitely think that's a big deal. And I think, when you think about the senior leaders from Josh Ross, as I said, Brad Hawkins on the defense, Andrew Vistardis on the at center, Aiden Hutchinson, obviously. These guys, it's their last game in the big house. It's their last game in Ann Arbor. What more can they want than to be that one team that finally beats Ohio State? And, you think about Aiden Hutchinson and the passion that he's had all year to turn this thing around, change the culture. Him and Jim Harbaugh have been like neck and neck, just going, this is it. We've got to do this. This feels like for Michigan, this whole year, the whole turnaround, everything since last year has been leading up to this exact moment on Saturday.
Justin Rowe, Blue by 90 podcast. Join him right there. He joins us each week to talk Michigan football, and we appreciate it. Justin, do you make predictions on the Michigan games?
I usually don't. I usually do not make predictions.
Because my next question was going to be, have you picked Michigan to lose a game this year? I was just curious.
In official predictions, I haven't given official predictions, but let's say me talking to buddies, I don't think I've predicted Michigan to lose this year, because the only one that I think that I would have predicted them to lose was at Michigan State, but I thought that they were the better team going into that. I do think that they were the better team coming out of it, actually, too, and should have won the game. This one, this would be the one game on the schedule that I'd say, if I was an unbiased bettor, I would probably take Ohio State -8 or whatever it's at right now. I think you have to bet that side until Jim Harbaugh and Michigan can prove otherwise. But with that being said, I will say this year seems like their best chance at it because they've got the team, but they've also got the attitude. So those are the two things that I think that that latter half has been missing for a little bit. And so I think that could be the one thing that pushes Michigan over the edge here.
Yeah, I think I'm along the same lines that if both teams bring their A games, I think Ohio State wins, or if both teams bring their C game, whatever level you want to put it at, that Michigan has to bring a better brand of their football to the table. And that's not uncommon. There are dozens of games across college football where that happens every week. So it's not a puncher's chance. I think it's much better than that for Michigan. I do think that they're legitimately one of the 5 or 6 best teams in college football. There may just prove to be some difference between a top 5 or 6 team and a top 2 team. We shall see.
Absolutely.
We shall see. It should be fascinating.